I'd do something a little different today and show you the mistakes that I've made at a wedding. This is a wedding I shot. Look how many photos. I'll put it up on the screen. 2,468 photos. So the question you're probably asking yourself right now is, what the heck? Why so many? And I agree with you. I don't really have an answer for that. But I take a lot of photos is the only answer I can really give you. So let's go through them and I'll tell you all the settings that I shot it with and why it may or may not be right or what my thinking was. So look right here, I'll put it up on the screen too. The settings here at 1.6, 1 over 400, the shutter speed, the ISO is at 2500. Why the ISO is that high is because it was kind of dark in there. And I preferred not to use flash. 1.6 is good because my subject is the bride, and everybody around her can kind of fall off focus, and that's fine with me. I shot this with a 50 mil. I also shot this with a 35 mil for a wider shot, but I chose a few photos here and there to show you the different things I did. Why the shutter speed so high is because they're moving, they're having fun. So right here I have it at 1.6 aperture, 1 over 200. I don't want any kind of focus motion blur, so I have it that way. Check out the composition. I like to have things like, I think that looks nice. Alright, next one. Same thing here, the composition. It's like I try not even to cut off his jacket. You see that? That's such a weird pet peeve of mine, to cut off things like that, even limbs. I'd rather not cut it off and leave a little space at least, and then maybe an equal amount of space or somewhat, and then a good amount of space above their heads. Why do I do that? I'm just really anal about that. I have it at 2.8. I'm using my 70 to 200 lens at 110 millimeters, so the background kind of falls into that kind of blurry, being so far back. But I have it at 1 over 800. The reason being is because I tend to do the shutter speed a little higher than what I need it to be. I could have probably got away with 1 over 200 here, and it would have been fine, but the ISOs at 640 were acceptable to me. So here, look, there, I'm doing the portraits. You have to notice here, the sun is actually over here right now, and it's shining down on them, which is why you see these little rim lights there. So I found the position that had the sun behind them, and so their faces are nice and even. I have space here, space here, space here, equal amount of space. This is not equal to the bottom, but that's okay. I think this composition looks nice to me. What do you guys think? Same thing here, see? Don't cut off limbs, don't cut off jackets even. This guy's much taller than that guy. There's a lot of space over here. I'm okay with that. The sun is still behind them, which is why you get the little bit of light over here, but their faces are nice and even. Okay, so this is a shot where I'm using continuous focus. All of the photos that you've seen prior are single point focus. So I compose, I catch focus, single point, and then I recompose. This is not one of those cases. This, I'm using eye autofocus, and it worked pretty well. People say that the Nikons aren't as good as Sony's or Canon's. I guess maybe they're right. I don't know. I can't really say because I haven't really used a Canon or Sony or anything like that. But I'm perfectly happy with my Nikon because 90% of the time, 95% of the time, I'm using single point anyways. When the eye autofocus works well, it works well every time I use it, really. I mean, sometimes it messes up. But look, there's space around them. I try to do that. Here I'm using single point because they're no longer moving towards me. They're just standing there. And the focus is on her. It should have been on her, to be honest. There's space, space, space. Can you tell what about this picture is like my pet peeve? But there's nothing I could have done about that. It's cutting off these feet. But like I said, there's nothing I can do about that. It's the cement. So what can you do? Focus is on this lady in the front, single point. It's at 2.8, so everybody else is going to be slightly out of focus, and really out of focus. But I'm good with that, 2.8. If I really wanted them all in focus, I would have done it like at 4.0 or something, maybe 5.6. Here, I used these branches from this tree to get this kind of shot here. We got lucky here because the sun is actually over here right now. So it usually casts down this huge, just kind of like brightness on people's faces on this side. But not today, it was overcast. So they got lucky, I got lucky. This works. Shutter speed's at 1 over 200. Generally, I have it at 1 over 200 because I'm afraid of motion blur, even though, like I said, this is during the ceremony. They're not moving. They're not, it's fine. But the ISOs at 800 are acceptable to me. I can deal with that. I like that. So when I do shots of these people at the crowd, I get them. I get a lot of them. I try to get the position that best works. The sun right now is over here, which means she's pretty good. The thing I don't like about this picture, or the thing that I can change about this picture if I could go back, is if I can just compose it a little bit lower. I don't need this extra space over here. What I would have liked is not to have left such little space over here with her hand. So if I can go back, I would redo this. But overall, this is not a bad picture. The little girl. So here they're walking in. The reason I like this picture, I'm using continuous focus now. But the reason I edited this one as opposed to a little bit of some of the others is because not only is their, expression nice, but I'm not cutting things off. If this were to get cut off, I would probably not like it as much, even though it's not a limb or somebody's face or anything. It's just, yeah, I don't know why. My eyes kind of see that too, and if this were to be cropped in, like let's say like that, or maybe like that, I don't know that I would have liked it as much, especially because there's more space at the bottom now. This is going back to the first look, so now we're going into the other camera, I think. See, it's a different file number. So they're gonna turn towards each other. Look at the space that I give them. There's a small amount of space compared to here, but I'm okay with this kind of composition. I like it. The shutter speed's out at 640. They're not moving fast. All they're gonna do is turn towards each other. But the ISO is pretty low. I'm good with that. I'm pretty shallow, 2.2. You might be thinking maybe I should have put it at 3.5, 5.6, something. But they're literally on the same plane, see? All they're doing is turning towards each other. So what the 2.2 is doing is just making this kind of bokeh or out of focus. So I'm good with that. Same thing, see, they're turning towards each other. Some people might use the eye out of focus here at this point, or for any of these shots, but I don't, because I just don't want to miss focus. Like once I've caught focus on her right here, I keep it there, and then when they turn, the focus is still here. So there's no chance of missing it. There's no chance. Single point. And then going for a kiss. Here I have to recompose, obviously, because now it's a vertical shot, not landscape. So the point is here, and then I tend to leave a lot of space on top and less so at the bottom. But not for every shot. But this is a 35, so I couldn't really just run up there to get a better composition or a different composition, not better. Okay, so I'm using the 35 still, and I'm going around them. 2.2 this time. So I still 2.2. So all I did was basically run from here to get the shot, and the focus is on her, single point. I don't cut off his head from the shot. I like this. Okay. This is shot at 2.8. I could have shot this at 2.0, sure. Why? Because, well, they're all on the same plane. Super anal about that. Another thing I'm anal about is having the flowers be on the same height. Okay? The sun is still over here, which is why I position them this way, which is why there's a little bit of rim lights right here. Okay. Here, I remember this. It was overcast, so I got lucky. But this is the different angle than this. Why I didn't do the big group shot at this angle with, the log going like that instead of like that is because they wouldn't fit. So I don't have the same rim lights or the same kind of lighting. See, I like how I prefer that better than that. But this still works because there isn't like this huge amount of sun coming down on their face, making them squint. Space, I like that. See that? ISO's at 500, shutter speed's at 1250, so it's pretty high. It probably doesn't need to be that high, but I want to avoid motion blur, like I've said. Focus is on her. Gradually, everybody gets out of focus. It's at 2.8. I probably could have shot this at 2.0 or something even less. I don't like cutting this. I don't like this cutting off. I wish I could have backed up, but this is one of those photos where I couldn't back up because the bride is literally walking in and I'm getting their expression. And as opposed to not taking the shot because I couldn't back up, I took it, and it's still a good shot because you can see the excitement in their face. I just if I'm so hard on myself that I don't like that, cutting off their foot right there. I don't like that. I didn't edit that. I edited this. See the difference? Space here. I like that. So this is another one of those shots that you can tell how I composed it. Look, space, 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 space. I like that. If it had been cutting off his foot, I wouldn't like it. I don't like that this is cutting off his foot, but like I said, the cement isn't really something I can change. Same thing for over here. Look at my composition. It's just, there's kind of an equal amount of space around. Not that everything has to be equal. I don't want you to come out of this or stop watching this video thinking that everything has to be proportional and equal and symmetrical. Nothing. That's not true. Just that I do like that in some of the shots. The shutter speed's at 1/800, 2.8. It's an acceptable ISO, so the shutter speed being that high, I'm okay with. Speaking of, guys, if you're doing a wedding, tell your groom to get rid of everything in his pockets. I told him, and he did. He got rid of his phone, but he left whatever that is there. Too bad. Here, I don't know I don't have behind the scenes videos for this, okay? But I switched from continuous eye focus to single point right before she stopped. Really fast because I have it set up on my camera. Why? Because I didn't want my camera to go to anybody else except for who I wanted it to go to, which in this case was her. I single point shot, focused and then recomposed so that I don't cut off feet, I don't cut off limbs, and I'm leaving space. Single point. Still at 1/500, ISO 500. I guess the same thing you would notice is like my composition, It's just I hate it when things get cut off. The composition would be so different if, let's say, it was like something like this, right? Like that. I've seen a lot of people do that, even. Look at how you, like, this would mean it's getting cut off right here, and I absolutely hate that. Like, if you just leave enough space here, that just looks nicer, I think. Okay, so here, if you notice, like, this picture, it was shot at 2.8. This picture was shot at 4.5. For you beginning photographers out there, why did I switch up to 4.5? Well, because there's layers of people. First layer, second layer, third layer. They're all in focus, although this guy's eyes are closed. So it's at 2500 ISO, shutter speed 250, because even though they're standing there, there's kids, and yeah, I don't want anybody out of focus. Here, I switched to 3.5. I probably could have got away with something else, 1.6 even, but they're both fairly in focus. Her eyes are in focus more than his, but his are not far off. Oh, I just realized I don't like this. cutting off the bouquet. I guess that's not bad. If I didn't realize it the first time, it's not that bad, right? 2.5 aperture. The shutter speed. This is where I think in hindsight is 2020, and I could have done this shot a little better. Perhaps I could have gone down an ISO maybe 3 to like maybe 800 if I had just lowered the shutter speed. This is a standing object. It doesn't need to be at 1/320. It doesn't. This is where it gets a little interesting for me, because if you notice, my aperture is at 2.2. My shutter speed's at 1/25, and my ISO is 1000. Look, how can I get... There's not one straight line of people. There's like this, And still, everybody is in focus at 2.2. It's because I'm standing a little far back, even though I kind of, it doesn't feel like I'm that far back. But yet, everybody is in focus at 2.2. It's interesting, don't you think? He's in focus, his mouth is in focus. She's a little out of focus, a little, and so is she, but not too bad. But why did I have it at 1/125? It's because I want more ambient light to come through. And the shutter speed, the flash is over here, and then there's one in front hitting them. ISO's at 1000. Here there's only one flash, and it's like over here, or over here really. It's at 2.8. It's not, I could have done this at 2.0. This is a little difficult, these dance shots for me. This is probably where the Sony or the Canon might be better. And if you guys, say they're better, maybe one day I'll try it. But this is like a single point and recompose shot. And these are the toughest shots to get when I don't trust the eye out of focus. Sometimes I do put it on because, I take so many of these, and not every one of them is their winners. But, this is a single point. The shutter speed's at 1/125, so I can get more of this little ambient light going on. He's frozen in place because the flash is coming from this way. Bam. You can see the flash shadows. It's coming from above. The flash is like way over there. There's one flash in the back, but there's also one in the front shining this way, which is why you get these flash shadows over here. So this is single point recompose. I didn't compose as well, but this is a little harder to get when you're doing it single point. I'm cutting off his feet. I don't like that. But I had to focus on his eyes and recompose it really fast, and this is what I got. If it was eye out of focus, I would have definitely used less space here and left more down here. So that would have been composed well. This is another single point recompose, but this one was easy because he's just standing there. The other ones are more difficult because they're kids dancing. The ambient light's coming through because it's at 1/125. The flash power is probably set to like 1/128. I'll show you this. This is not the edited version. The edited version, I'll bring it up on screen. I put a flash behind, and that's it. And then I use a gradient. What is it called? What's this thing called? The vignetting to darken out the sides. I use Photoshop to kind of clone out these cars. And yeah, I'll show you that in a sec. This wasn't good. I tried to do like a spin, and those are hard to get because, they move out of place. The flash is going to come through like that. Some detail shots shot with 85 at 1.6. I liked my 85. Composed fairly well. Didn't cut off any of the subject here. Same thing here. This is in focus. I love the 85. This is the Sigma 85 though, guys. This is at 1.6. Virtually wide open. There's a couple flashes going off here. One's from above, like this way. It's over here. And then there's one over here, and then there's one over here. Although they're all set minimal powers, 1/200. I could have probably done 1/125. I don't know why I didn't. Hindsight. Cake. You see this line here? Flash. Shadows. Flashes over here, all the way to the side, coming this way. Somebody asked me once, how do you know where to put the light? Because they're natural light photographers. They've never used flash. And I told her, well, imagine it's a big soft window light. Imagine it's a big window. It's not a big window, it's a little tiny light source, but imagine it's a big window. Where would you put the subject if you had a big window that can move around? Would you move the subject around the same way you would for natural light photography? Or would you just move the window? In this case, you would move the window because I'm not going to move all this stuff. Light's coming this way. It's at 1/100. Okay, see there? I did it right now. These things are not moving anywhere. So 1/100 is fine. 1.4, that's fine. Flash coming this way, flash coming this way. This is at 1/160, 1.8. It's not bad. Same thing. The composition though, same thing. This is a little harder because this is single point recompose. So if you can look closely, his eyes are not completely in focus because he's moving, and I'm at 2.0 at this point. 2.2, ISO is 1600, flash is coming this way, eyes are in focus. I don't trust the eye composition on the Nikon anyways, because it might have gone to her eyes. I chose him. That's why it's in focus. The next one, I chose her. That's why she's in focus. And then they both got within the same kind of plane, so they're both in focus. Single point recompose, again, her eyes are in focus. That's why she's kind of in the middle and not over here. It would have been harder to recompose if I have it on center point right here. So all I did was focus here and then move it down a little bit. And then that's how I got the shot. Super easy, super fast. What do you guys think? I know that I messed up a few of these shots, but they were never that messed up that I can't recover because it's in RAW. If you mess up big, not even RAW can help you. Although RAW can do some great things. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this kind of video helps to see the settings and to see the composition. And if it does help, I'll continue to make these kinds of videos too. All right? Thanks. Bye.